Good morning, everybody, and welcome, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome, regardless, to This Week in Indies for October 24th, 2021. I am your host, back in my humble abode. You remember last week we were on location, which was a lot of fun at Multiverse, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. We have a great show ahead for you. CL Cannon is also back this week, so that's awesome. We've got another great indie connection, and we have a great roundtable to discuss a lot of great things. So we're going to get on with our show. And to start us off, something that happened while we were at Multiverse, a very special announcement was made. And here's more about that and what we're talking about. So enjoy that, and we'll be right back with the roundtable. Hi, I'm Joe Compton. Welcome to Going You Now. And I have the incredible privilege of sitting next to the awesome Marie Wood. We're here making a huge announcement today. And I'm just going to let Lisa do her thing right now. So tell everybody what we're here to talk about.
Well, we're here to talk about the Speculative Fiction Academy. It's an interesting idea. So think about any horror or science fiction or writing class that you might have ever wanted to take, the ones that go in depth with, not just the knowledge that there are horror antagonists, but talking to you about what Dracula does and why Dracula exists and how a zombie can possibly physically work. That's what we're going to be doing here at this new academy. So the Speculative Fiction Academy is going to be an online academy that offers three different types of learning styles. So it would be core, which is the first style, 8 to 10 weeks modules, deep dives, which are 2 to 5 weeks, and individual sessions. So you have three different ways to learn. And you might be wondering what I'm talking about in terms of learning. What I'm saying is fiction, including horror, science fiction, and fantasy. And paranormal, I have a new one, I don't know if I told you. Supernatural romance.
Nice. Awesome.
Right? We also have creative nonfiction. We also have film. Film and new media.
That would be me.
That would be, in an amazing class as well. And I told you, I've taken that one, so amazing class. We also have a business leg. We're trying to make sure that authors, writers, aspiring writers, people just saying, hey, I might want to write, you all really understand the ins and outs of the business. You get the mechanics that you need to learn how to do that writing. But then there's the business end of how to actually sustain yourself. So I'm kind of excited about this thing.
Yeah. So tell everybody when can they start to, they could go right now and look at it, but when can they start to sign up for classes and things of that nature?
Our launch, okay, look at this. Let's do all of them. Our launch is hopefully, fingers crossed, and I really believe this will be the case, October 31st of this year. So it's like right around the corner. Of course it's Halloween. I'm a psychological horror author. It has to be Halloween, But, so we're going to be doing it then. And like Joe said, you can go and take a look. There are some classes that you can't necessarily sign up for and take, but you can see what's available. And there's some pretty cool stuff out there.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And it's very diverse. It's got a lot of great things to offer, as Lisa mentioned. So I think really, truly, if you're trying to get into the writing business, if you're trying to figure out, where you're going in the path in life, that's essentially, this is going to help you a lot with that idea.
Hi, my name is Marie Wood, and I'm the president of the Speculative Fiction Academy. I'd like to welcome you. If you're interested in learning more about writing, honing your voice, doing a deep dive in speculative fiction genres, and finding your tribe, you're in the right place. The Speculative Fiction Academy has 5 curriculum tracks. Fiction, which includes horror, fantasy, and science fiction. Film and new media. Business. Creative writing principles. And nonfiction and creative nonfiction. Within each of those 5 curriculum paths, there are 3 learning styles. Core, which is where we lay the foundation. Deep dive, which is where we do exactly that, diving deeper into the material. And individual sessions, where you can add to your knowledge. Your instructors here at SFA are people working in the industry and being heralded for it. You have award-winning publishers, award-winning editors, award-winning novelists and short story writers and screenwriters, podcasters, you name it. These people have come together to teach you the knowledge that they have amassed over the years, and we're so very excited to do so. So take a look around. Find out what SFA has to offer. And welcome aboard.
What's cool about this is that you're getting this sort of tutelage, if you will, from people who've been in the industry for a long time. If you know Joe, you know he's been doing it forever. I've been doing it since I was 5. Okay, and I'm only 15. But no, but I've been writing since I was 5, but publishing since, 1998? So that's a long, let's not add it up. That's no point in adding it up.
No math here.
Years upon years. But it's been a long time, and all of the instructors have been doing their craft. There's craft they're going to be teaching you about for a considerable amount of time. So you're getting really intense and specific industry knowledge. Please go to www.speculativeffictionacademy.com.
There you go, everybody. Go check it out. Yeah, definitely go check it out. It's there's a lot of great stuff there. I guarantee you're going to learn something new that you didn't know before, or get deeper into something that you wanted to learn more about. And it's a really awesome opportunity, and go check that out. October 31st, next Sunday. Everything should be rocking and rolling as far as I know. We have somebody here who can verify that. As you can see by the round table here, here's all my peeps today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Morning.
Hey.
Is that still on schedule, Jim?
Far as I know,
Cool.
There's a couple of things. So I am your dean of business because, it's not like I ever have anything to do. But yes, I'm your dean of business. And right now, the plan is still October the 31st. As you can see, my office is a disaster because that's one of the several things we've got launching right now. So, but yeah, we're still on set for the October the 31st. Actually, a number of the classes and things are already out there and available live right now. But the big launch will be next Sunday.
Awesome.
Sunday.
Why don't we just go ahead and start our show by having you introduce yourself, since you're big on the screen already.
Oh, well, since I'm here taking up the big space on the screen. I am Jim Nettles. I am science fiction, fantasy, horror writer. I'm also a nonfiction author. I do a lot of consulting, business and technology consulting, writing stuff in the future space. I also founded Author Essentials and AE Workshops, which is all about the business side of being an author and providing services. And now I'm also the business dean for the SFA. And I am also one of the founders for the Continual Convention that is online, where we're doing all sorts of fun stuff as well, that we sucked Joe into doing a really chaotic live from Multiverse, where we got to go hang out in the bar.
Yeah,
And get
awesome.
to spend some quality time together.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right. Let's just go down the line here. Karina, why don't you tell everybody where they can tell everybody.
Hi everyone, Karina Kantas here. I am an award-winning author and filmmaker. I'm a podcaster, YouTuber, booktuber. I'm the host of the Author Assist show on the Ask Fifth Radio Network, and I also run Author Assist, which helps authors with marketing and promotion.
Awesome. All right. I don't know whose Mike was giving feedback there, but that's all right. We got it all squared away. All right. Let's just go down the line. Michael, you want to give it a go and tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm going to be the resident underachiever because I only recently published my first book. I'm an author and none of those other beautiful things that Katrina is. My first novel, Free Wilds, The Cult and the Constable, is a detective fantasy novel. It takes place in an original dark fantasy realm, and the hero is a detective constable. It's got a lot of horror elements to it as well. I'm very much dipping my feet into this whole genre. Brand new, started very late, 44. I've been writing for a long time, short form fiction, but this is my first time publishing a book. So I'm pretty proud of it, but also very new. So got a lot less to say than a lot of these other good folks.
Well,
Congratulations,
it's awesome.
Michael.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's great.
It's awesome
Yes,
that you've
congrats.
done that.
Thank you.
And welcome. Whatever you have to contribute, we accept it. So it's awesome. So welcome to the show. We
A
appreciate
lot
it.
of nervousness.
Don't worry about it. It's all good. All right, Vanessa, you want to tell everybody about yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, I am Vanessa GIUNTA. I'm not an award-winning author. I am an author of the urban fantasy Soul Cavern series. I'm also a freelance and contract editor. I work for Falstaff Books. I'm also part of the Author Essentials group that Jim mentioned, and I'm going to also be an instructor on the speculative fiction academy, but probably not till next year because my plate is really full right now.
Awesome. Well, that's going to be cool. We look forward to that for sure. All right, Jeffrey, you want to tell everybody about yourself, please?
Yeah, hi. Nice to be here on the show. My name is Jeffrey Kipple. I'm the author of a book called The Ridiculous Adventures of Serendipity. It's a comedy, science fiction, kind of a blend between Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Monty Python, Family Guy with some Star Wars thrown into it. I'm also the ambassador for the Rethink Fit initiative, which is all about spreading the message that being fit goes beyond just strength and appearance. It's about mental and emotional and social and spiritual and functional health. And I do that by coaching and mentoring people who want to empower others to really love better how they think and feel and act and look and dream. My book is laid with a lot of empowerment messages and self-discovery and, you know, all those laugh out loud moments too. It's available on Amazon, on Kindle, and the audiobook is on Audible. And there's a sneak peek of it all on my website, which is serbenend.com.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you. A lot of mouthfuls today. Everybody's doing so much good stuff. That's awesome. I'm real excited about all that. 2020 was bleh, 2021 was, and 2022, who knows? But I kind of wanted to because we're at a point right now where you can't order books to get here before Christmas unless you do it right now. You can't really decide whether or not you're going to go do some panels and some tours and all this stuff even right now. I mean, it is starting to come back to somewhat of a normal. We just went out for the first time in a year and a half, myself personally, and experienced Multiverse last weekend. If you didn't see, we were live from there last Sunday, and that was pretty awesome. And of course, that last video you just saw was from Multiverse. In a track that I was very, very comfortable in the horror track, which I really, really enjoyed. And there'll be more about all of my experience on my blog here. I'm still writing the blog and putting it together, but that should be out tomorrow at the latest. And so I'm real excited about all of that. And what struck me when being there was there's a way to do this pretty well. I mean, it was a small gathering, so it wasn't as harrowing or tumultuous as you might have thought. It was very well handled, and everybody was very well behaved. I don't know about Dragon Con, which was obviously on a triple digit larger scale than that one, but and then the whole idea of shipping stuff. I mean, I can't imagine what you're going through, Karina, right now. I don't know if you're having issues and ordering stuff and things of that nature. But, I mean, is there promise for the future? Are we getting closer and closer? I mean, a lot of us believe there probably will never be a normal like there was before, but are we getting closer and closer to some kind of a semblance of normal? Do you think? Do you feel like you're more comfortable saying that now than you were maybe 4 months ago, 10 months ago? I mean, where's everybody out in their headspace in terms of what 2022 is about? Because right now, I think everybody here is probably planning for that to be their next run, right? So please jump in. Since July, I've done
4 or 5 conventions. All of them, with the exception of Dragon Con, were vaccinated only. Dragon Con required vaccines or a negative test within 72 hours of picking up your badge. I was much less comfortable at Dragon Con than I was at the others. The others had very good protocols. I don't think we are going to get anywhere near the old normal until I don't know what anybody's ideas are here or opinions are here, but until people start getting vaccinated in greater numbers, we're not going to get back to anything like the old normal.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But let me ask you this, VENESSA. I know you have one more con to go this year. That's it for you after that? And then 2022, is your plate filling up a lot faster than you thought it would?
I've got a convention, not a writer convention or a book convention, but one in January that I'm probably going to go to in Phoenix, because I'm comfortable with their precautions, right? Mm-hmm. And yes, precautions and policies. And I've applied to several that are known quality to me. I will most likely not do any new conventions, with maybe one exception next year. But I'm already applying to a couple that I'm comfortable with their policies.
Cool. Awesome. Anybody?
Yeah. I mean, my season, we've got Time Travelers Weekend, which is here in Charlotte. Outdoors, event coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's part of the Ren Fair. Bring out authors. We come, bring some books. I've got one other event that I may do that's the beginning of November. Again, it's an outdoor event, go through heavy stuff. So that's a whole different scenario. And then that kind of rounds up my year. But then things start cranking up. January, February, a couple of little things. Then April for me, one event is not going to happen. So I actually get a free weekend in April. Then it kind of is hypothetically at least back to running to a normal schedule. I am probably adding a couple of new things next year, but they're in business conference, business conventions, that sort of stuff that are more geared around DR and actually some of the recovery type stuff that's going on more so than writing. But we're looking at several more years, based on what the industry stuff says, several more years of dealing with things before this just becomes another background virus that's just part of the normal cycle. And it depends on how many more mutations we get, how many more people actually go get vaccinated, what we're looking at in boosters, what it actually is required to change. So there is an extent of managing risk to everything that we're having to do right now, but also at the same time, there's still business to be done. There's still, conventions to be at. There's still things we got to go make happen. So sort of the adaptation period right now, and I mean, I've done since May, I think I've done 8-9 events of varying degrees and varying sizes. And I am teaching one in-person workshop in December for Author Business Plan, which will both be live and virtual, or at least that's currently the plan. So still a lot of stuff going on. It's just a question of where are people comfortable at.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Are you getting more and more comfortable yourself as these things go along, or is it based on the crowd and the idea of the con itself?
Well, we've talked about this, I think, some offline too. It's there is the degree of, number one, just getting comfortable to being around people again. I just kind of went back to the top of my mountain for a year and a half, and it was like, do I really want to come down at people? And there is an aspect there of, no, I want to be back on top of my hill, but once you kind of get accustomed to it and you figure out what reasonably safe protocols are and how that can best work for you and the people around you. And I think that's the big thing that a lot of people are missing, is making it work around for not just for you, but everybody that's around you, and how you manage those people at events and the things that you're doing at those events. Multiverse was a great example because it is a small event. Everybody had to be fully vaccinated, and the people that are there are pretty cognizant and self-aware. Dragon Con, was much more of a, okay, we're going to go do our thing, go panel, we're going to go run our mouths, and now we're going to go back to our little corner over here, and you guys do whatever you want to go do and party. But even that was, thankfully, looking at the numbers, and VENESSA, you may know better than I do, but I only know a couple of people that came out with COVID cases, and they were all people that worked the dealer's room all weekend.
Yeah, that was my experience too.
Other than that, it seems that people largely that are in our community are at least aware of, we don't want to become shuffling zombies. But some of the other places and communities I work and speak and do stuff in, that's a little bit different scenario. So it's.
I'll jump in.
Yeah.
My background among writing and what I was sharing before is in fitness and in events and wellness retreats, conventions, expos, producing those types of things. And over this period, obviously, that had to be we had to rethink our model. And I think this period of time has been a constant shifting of rethinking the different ways that you're doing business, rethinking the ways that you're connecting with people. And in many cases, what we have found was being more focused on the building of relationships rather than looking at a macro model where promotions or marketing or where you're putting your brand in front of a lot of people, focusing more on a smaller group of people where you could build relationships. What I have discovered over my years in business is that the strongest way for people to hold on to those relationships is by giving them value and letting them know who you are, because people follow people. And if they're following you, then they'll typically, look at the books that you have, look at the conventions, look at the different things that you're involved in. It's more getting that relationship. So that's where I've seen a big mindset shift, more going within, determining, okay, who am I, and what is my message? What is my value? Who can I connect to? Who can I build a tribe with? And build those relationships and let it expand from there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As my coffee brews, because I hoped somebody would talk a little bit longer, but that's fine.
Well, I'll pile on that just a little bit, because I agree absolutely. But I mean, I've been in business of one sort or another since I was a teenager, and it's absolutely about who do you know and how do you build really meaningful relationships with people. And one of the fun things that I'll go back to Multiverse last weekend. We started Continual a year and a half ago. We're pushing 500 shows now. I've lost track of how many people because I'm behind on getting the stuff put together there. But what was one of the things that was fun at Multiverse Convention last weekend was we got to hang out in person, Joe, you, me, and Katie. There were a couple other people that were there that we have had on Continual on the show that I'd never met in person that we got to go meet and hang out with. And so you can build a lot of relationships in virtual environments that are meaningful to everybody, that are real, actual relationships. And then when you get to meet people, it just becomes even more valuable. And so I would agree absolutely with everything you just said.
Yeah, I'm so jealous of you, Joe. You meeting all these people that I've known for years. I was looking at these photos and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I was there. And you can always come over to Corfu. There's always a place for you over here, Joe. Always welcome.
Well, you're welcome to come to Multiverse. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with me is I'm totally the opposite of all of you. I'm stuck in a little Greek village. My life hasn't changed really since COVID because I stay in my house and my little bedroom or my office and work from home. And so I don't go out much anyway. So the COVID hasn't changed that way for me. I don't go to conventions. Every promotion, marketing, anything that I do is all online. And that's been pretty important because a lot of authors didn't know that there was this medium out there that you could actually reach everyone around the world just by coming on camera and talking. So that was really good, chatting to new people that never knew about going online and panels and going Zoom interviews and podcasts and radio shows, and so that was good to teach people how to get themselves known. And again, it is about letting people know who you are before you start promoting your books. They want to know who the author is behind the book. You have more chance of making a sale when they know more about you. So all of my promotion has been online. I've had new clients, quite a few this year, because of not being able to go to conventions, not being able to go to the book signings, trying to find another way to promote their stuff. So they've come to me and I've taught them how to do it the correct way. So that's been really good. Next year, I don't know. I wanted things to, after the new year, it looked like things are starting to get better. And then I find out that the UK is probably going to go back down into serious lockdown soon. Another strain, another batch of going through COVID. Thousands again every day being diagnosed. That scares me, because if it's UK, then other countries are going to have another relapse as well. So I don't know what's going to happen for next year. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that things will get better. I'm trying to, I stay in my house anyway, so I don't go out hardly ever. So I'm not worried about that side of it. And again, all of my business is online. So if it carries on and things go bad again for next year, then I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm sorry for all those that do rely on the cons and the public appearances to sell their books, because that's where they do make the most sales. And I hope they do open up. I hope they're very take it seriously, and like you say, take lots of precautions and have safe cons and safe places for you to go and sell your books.
From your lips to God's ears.
I wanted to, I'm going to touch on the online thing, because I know Jim and VENESSA have some thoughts on that as well. But Michael, jump in here and
first I wanted to thank everybody, because I'm learning a lot. This isn't just year one for me, it's month one for me. My book only came out at the end of September.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
I haven't ever done. It's probably way too early for me to be on a podcast like this, to be honest with you.
No.
I do have to say that I'm learning quite a bit. I'm actually very interested in the lessons that are going to be taught by this thing that you're just starting. It seems very interesting, and probably something that I should do. I've never gone to a convention as anything other than a person that goes to conventions, just for my own edification, never in any way to publicize it. Marketing and publicity is what terrifies me the most. I loved the writing. It was very cathartic to me, because it was kind of the creative outlet for my midlife crisis after I kind of had a very upsetting 2020. I think everybody did. My birthday in 2020, I had pretty much a complete nervous breakdown, and it was the only way that I could cope, was to give myself some sort of a creative outlet. So I poured myself into writing, and I devoted myself to the task of becoming a published author. So I achieved what I was looking to do, but all the business aspect of it, and all the marketing and the publicity and the going to conventions, it's not even something I ever really considered. Doing things like this interview, it's completely alien to me. It's not something that I was ever, I could ever have anticipated that I would be doing, but I can see that there's value to it. And the one thing that I learned from what I've heard some of you nice folks say is that you can't put the cart before the horse, and I can't put the book before the person. So it seems to me like I really need to put myself out there. I need to let people know who I am.
And absolutely.
Yeah.
as nervous as I am to do so, it's something that I have to do. It's like I already kind of put my foot in this world, I already kind of stepped into it. So I really have no choice but to keep going. So I wish I had more to say on the topic of how my 2021 has been, or I have no idea what 2022 is going to hold. I pray daily that people stay healthy and safe. I pray daily that people, they say vote your conscience. I think, make conscious decisions about your own health and consider the health of others while you're at it. And I know that has to affect everything. I'm sorry, I decided to do this outside. Bad decision. So I hope
it's a lovely decision. I'm completely enjoying your
There's a skydiving ranch like 5 miles from my house. So
as long as we don't hear.
It's really the sudden silence at the end that I dread. Oh no, and then sirens. But no, seriously, I don't know what to anticipate. I know that coronavirus is a very scary thing. I had it. The coronavirus didn't affect me as badly as the pneumonia afterward. The coronavirus pneumonia had me bedridden for months. So I can attest that it's awful. It just piled on. It was like, okay, this is what's next, But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I didn't know what the present held until just now. So.
And yet you managed to write a book and publish it in that time period.
It's a big one too. It's 700 and some odd pages. You could do some damage with this thing.
Put it up for everybody to see.
Oh, sure, yeah. I didn't know if I was supposed to.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Of course you are. That's what you're here for. Promote yourself, promote your book.
Yeah, thank you.
But you make an astute point. I think that I think a lot of people don't take into consideration is that even at the level what everybody is here, whatever level they're at, we're all gathering information, we're all learning, and it's important that you continue to do that no matter what level you're at. I think that's why something like the Speculative Fiction Academy is really, really important, and something like what Jim does with Author Essentials is really important. And I think also the idea of being a con goer before being a con panelist or being a con seller is super, super important, because I think you have to know what environment you are and find the tribes that you belong to, as Jeffrey mentioned earlier. And I think those are things that you do only when you can have the experience of where you're free to go wherever you want to go. I mean, if you're a con seller, and I know Jim and VENESSA can attest to this, or a con panelist, or somebody running a track like VENESSA does, like Jim has done in the past, you're kind of beholden to that spot, and you're going to be there for the whole entire weekend for the most part.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, and so you don't get the full experience that a con goer would get, and I think it's super important for everybody to have that experience as much as anything else. I mean, that's where you really absorb a lot of what's going on.
I'd like to say something to Michael specifically and other newer authors. Remember that you are the one representing yourself. So try not to disparage yourself when you're talking about your book, because even there is a lot, the fact that you finished a book, the fact that you got it through edits and everything, and you got a cover and all that stuff, and you published the book, that's more than most of the writers out there will ever do in their lives.
Yeah.
That is an accomplishment. So try not to talk yourself down, because you shouldn't need to. Because here's the other thing. Remember that there are people farther down the ladder than you are who are looking up to you. So you are showing them how to comport themselves when they get to your level. Just like those of us who have a little more experience are showing you how to comport yourself when you get to our level. So remember that yes, you may not have as much experience as other people here in this chat. I don't have as much experience in, like, there's people in this chat that I do not have as much experience in things that they're good at. So we are all somewhere on each ladder that's different to everyone else. So I just wanted to remind you that what you've done is a huge accomplishment, and try not to, play yourself down, try not to, make it sound like it's not the accomplishment that it is.
Yeah,
And
You should be really proud, Michael.
And when you write gnome killers, and Joe has seen my gnome killers, and Vanessa absolutely has seen my gnome killers, which is the reason there's so many gnomes behind me.
Because he kills them.
That's still the best seller. But I mean, the other thing is getting to go to these kinds of events and just going as an attendee and meeting people. I mean, getting to meet Joe and hang out in person. I mean, we sat in the bar Friday night till late. But
that's what that event was all about.
That's what that, and Vanessa will tell you, if there are people in the bar, I'll probably be there somewhere. But the time we got to sit there and hang out, and it was Jenny Koch and Mel Todd and Joe and myself and somebody else that was having her great bachelorette party. But I mean, we had a lot of good conversation sitting there in between.
Shame on you having your phone.
They're all blowing up today, which can't possibly be good. And I apologize because normally I have to turn them off. But I mean, those kinds of things that happen at conventions where you meet people and get to build relationships with people that are both in front and behind you is absolutely invaluable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bar time is especially nice. Even when you're getting death stares from the staff who want to go home, but
you pick them well, and they're fine.
Well, I found out something interesting about that, but that's not for this conversation. But that being said, yes, I think FaceTime is different. Even in this setting here, and like Jim said earlier, or maybe Karina said it as well, that we're establishing a connection here, and then when we meet in person, it's that energy transfers, right? So I mean, there's that too. I'm sorry, go ahead, Vanessa.
I love what Jeffrey said about creating relationships, because, and I think in that particular instance, he was talking about with people who would be your readers, but I imagine he would also say, and I'm not speaking for you, Jeffrey, I want to hear what you have to say, but I think that the relationship portion is important among authors because it's such an isolating job that we do, right? We can't do it in groups. I mean, we can, but we don't, generally speaking. We're pretty much alone when we're doing our writing. And so it can end up being very solitary. So having these connections, whether they're online or in person or both, is important. And I would like to hear from Jeffrey about like your idea of relationships in that regard as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, thank you. And I was going to comment because what you were saying before to Michael is really important, and it's part of that relationship aspect. Michael, that whole aspect that you completed it, like Vanessa was saying, finishing the book, going through the editing and re-editing and re-editing and re-editing, getting a cover done, getting it put together, getting it sold. The completion of that process is very, very cool. That satisfaction of getting it done. And, most people don't do that. Through that process, you've gained so much experience, and that experience can empower other people. And that falls into where this relationship end is, because now you can build tribes among people who have gone through that same process as you, people who are looking up to you to want to go through that process and need that action step. What was it that sparked you forward to get them to inspire them to also complete their task, complete that passion project that they've always had. So the relationship end would be on all spectrums, from the reader of the book to your peers, to people who are looking to even follow in your footsteps, and then everything else in between.
Now Michael, now you have like you said, the daunting task of marketing and promotion. It can be for a new author. It can be, but if you know the steps, and there are steps to take, you start off small and then you work your way up. It can be very satisfying. You have an amazing community, especially on Facebook, that you can ask and get advice. Me included. Contact me, and I'll help you with anything you need there.
Thank you.
But don't let that scare you, though, because for me, I find the writing the easy part. And it's the promotion and marketing, and it's finding your readers. It's knowing who needs to read your book, what they're going to get from it, where your marketplace is. And once you know that, and you know who's going to buy your book, that's when you start joining certain groups, and you get involved with the conversations. You introduce yourself. You, of course, get on as many podcasts and radio shows as you can. Be really confident about yourself and about your book. Be proud of what you've achieved. That will come across as being confident, and people will take a look. You've got to, if this is your first time, like you say, on a podcast, then well done, congratulations, you took your first step. So you need more of this, and you need to be able to talk more about your book, why you wrote it, the blurb, the story, the plot, what are you doing next? People want to know all that. They want to know about you before they put their hard money into buying a book, even an ebook. But you've took the first step for your first podcast. So now it's getting up that ladder now and doing the rest of it. But like I said, I'm here for you, Michael, if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. I
let
very
me
much
know.
appreciate it. I hope I didn't give the impression I wasn't proud of my book.
No, not at all.
No.
Not
I'm
at all.
super proud of it. And I feel like of every aspect of myself that I am not confident about. My ability to write is not something I have any lack of confidence in. I know I'm a good writer. And I am very proud of what I've made in this book. I wrote it for myself. I understand you're supposed to write for an audience, and you're supposed to, consider who's going to read it. But I wrote the book as a way to deal with something. And I also wrote the book that I would want to read. I'm a voracious reader. I love reading. I love the horror genre. I love fantasy, especially dark fantasy, science fiction. I love a lot of like nonfiction, or I really enjoy alternate history fiction quite a bit. But so I kind of enveloped all of the things that I enjoyed in books. That's why I can't really define it as any one genre, which may make it more difficult for me to market it. But I hope hope my nervousness in doing a podcast. I'm just not very much into public speaking and stuff. I've never really have been. I recognize that's something I have to try to get used to and get better at. But I hope I didn't give the impression, like I said, that I'm not proud of my book. I really am super proud of it. It's
No, you didn't give that impression. And to say something about the nervousness aspect of things, because I'm somebody who uniquely has this interesting perspective, because I bring so many new people into what we do and how we do it. And I've been the first time for a lot of people in that respect. I will say, be nervous. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's more authentic that you give a crap than if you are that person that fakes it till they make it kind of idea, because people see right through that. People see that you're not authentic. And so being nervous is kind of comforting to people sometimes,
It's also a bit of a rite of passage, because we've all been there. All of us have been there. So don't even worry about that.
Poor Michael came
still
on the
don't
show to
know.
talk, and we're giving him like therapy here. So
I know.
Yeah, I feel like I took over. I'm sorry.
No, you
There's
didn't at all.
You're good.
Because
No, these are
here's the thing: the
these
way
are
Maybe-
valuable things for
the way
everybody.
you
to know.
are, the way you are presenting yourself, your nervousness and all that, it's super common. And there are
Mhm.
people, again, who are like a little farther down the ladder than you, who, when they see that it's okay to be nervous, then it's going to make them feel better. It's going to make them, I mean, you're doing fine. Don't let anybody tell you that
Absolutely.
you're not. You are doing
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks.
You know what else is doing awesome, everybody? CL Cannon.
Cannon.
And she's got an incredible indie connection. That's
Nicely
pretty awesome. So yeah, I'm getting pretty good at this.
Good segue,
But with that being said, enjoy the indie connection, and we'll be right back to talk a little bit more. And we've got a special last 5 minutes for you this week, so that's pretty cool. But here is the next 5 minutes with CL Cannon.
Hey guys, CL Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another indie connection. And today I'm going to be telling you about some indie books that you might enjoy if you were a fan of The X-Hex by Aaron Sterling. It's a great book. I really enjoyed it. So here are some indies that you might like if you're a fan of this one. The first book I have for you is called Serendipity by Kristen Proby. My sight is a gift and also a curse. It cost me the love of my life. We may have been young, but some things you don't get over. Like being the cause of the biggest tragedy of your boyfriend's life. It's something I'll never forget, and a reflection of who I am. But now that Jackson's back in town, with scars and a hero's badge of honor, it's time for me to be brave too. A malevolent evil hell-bent on making my sisters and me pay for rebuffing him is still stalking my family, and some ancient writings portend that the six were the only ones who could defeat him. Jackson Pruitt and I round out that magical number, which means I have to face the evil and the things Jack makes me feel, to save my family and my city. I never sought to reconnect with Jack. Working with him now means opening myself up to my feelings for him. Refusing means destruction for us all. The second book I have for you is called If the Broom Fits by Kitty Gallant. I was very skeptical about the dangerous ground they were playing on. It was one thing to appreciate Jensen's beauty, but it was another to start daydreaming about the beginnings of sexy time. Calexa Cabot has been whipping up a storm with her witchy bakery, Bewitched, but when a death omen comes knocking on her door, she is pulled back to the town she fled from and straight into her biggest mistake, Jensen Wilson. Will Calexa be able to resist his mesmerizing emerald eyes, or will she succumb to his many charms? The third book I have for you is called Pumpkin Everything by Beth Labonte. After calling off her fall wedding, horror novelist Amy Fox is left with a broken heart, a mega case of writer's block, and a serious aversion to all things pumpkin spice. When she receives news that her grandfather has broken his wrist driving through a Dunkin' Donuts, literally straight through the front windows, 500 miles away in her hometown of Autumnboro, New Hampshire, Amy has no choice but to return to check on him. If she doesn't make sure that he's back on his feet, Grandpa may be moved into assisted living, and Amy's beloved childhood home will be put on the market. Knowing she must return, Amy worries about the only things worse than pumpkin spice, a reunion with Kit Parker, her childhood best friend, first love, and an entire reason for skipping town in the first place. As the two reconnect, a second chance seems possible, if only Kit weren't holding on to a secret that just might unravel everything. And the last book I have for you is called Sixpence and Whiskey by Heather R. Blair. Magic can't solve everything. Persephone Goss knows that better than most. As the youngest and least talented of four witch sisters, Seth has learned the hard way to keep her head down and her butt safely behind the counter of her Duluth bar, Toil and Trouble. But now the king of the bears wants her as his queen, a werewolf or three wants her dead, and her cold-as-ice ex, Jack Frost, wants... well, she hasn't figured that out yet. With a bounty on her head, time running out on a half-forgotten prophecy, and Jack stalking her every move, Seth needs her magic more than ever, until using it comes with a price she never saw coming. Okay, that's all for me this week. I'll see you next week on the Indie Connection. Bye.
As always, another great indie connection. A lot of great covers, a lot of great books, a lot of great topics. Go check that out, and all the links are there, as are all the links for all these beautiful people here. And we are winding everything down here for this episode, but I wanted to touch a little bit on something that has happened that I think is a positive run, and Jim will attest to this because his business is based on that a lot. And VENESSA is doing a con online that she wouldn't have normally attended to because it's in wow. If you want to mention it, go ahead. It's in Milwaukee, but right,
yeah, so. I did one last year. That was in Milwaukee. That it's Con City, and it was lovely. And I wouldn't go to Milwaukee to go to a con. I mean, not that there's anything against Milwaukee, but it's just not in my travel circle. I live in Atlanta. That's a long way, and they probably can't afford to fly me out. So I was able to do an online. Teach some stuff online, which was awesome.
And for Karina, this is an important development as well, because since she can reach an American audience that she normally couldn't tap into with virtual conning, and so I'm curious, and every con is talked a little bit. In fact, at the multiverse, Q&A, last gasp, whatever they calling it, they were talking a little bit about how they were looking at, doing a 50-50 or 60-40, whatever, a little bit of virtuosity, so that they could have that representation too. I know that Park City this year is going to have both Slam Dance and Sundance are both going to be representing online as much as they are in person, and the in-person is actually scaled back a little bit. So those ideas are, Dragon Con has incorporated that. San Diego, sadly, doesn't know how to incorporate it, otherwise they would do it, but for that idea, I think a lot of us it's gonna open up a lot more. So I think that was a positive. And maybe Jim, you could talk a little bit more about your experience with that and how that is kind of blossomed in that respect.
Well, and being an old tech guy, I've been doing virtual events and virtual conventions for a long time, because there's a lot of times when we would do monthly panels, monthly meetings, industry briefings, things like that, but also virtual conventions in a lot of different virtual spaces. And for Continual, we've been playing with the idea, when I say we, it was John Hartness, Falstaff Books, Gail Z. Martin, and myself, doing a lot of conventions. I'd been talking about doing something virtually for a while, and we were all kept bannering it around, and I was doing a small version of it just for the business track for AE and the things that we were doing. And April of last year, when everything was shutting down, Gail pings us and says, okay, I did a thing. What do we do next? And the thing was, she had a logo and a name, and we had Continual. And it was like, all right, great. 3 weeks later, we were dropping our first couple of shows. And since then, it's grown tremendously. We've gotten to work with a lot of the conventions that we love and we're used to doing in person to help do stuff virtually. Like, Richard and team from Multiverse did a fantastic job. We helped broadcast a lot of the stuff for Multiverse, worked with Richard some in the background to do stuff. We shared our playbooks with some of the folks at Dragon Con. We did stuff for Con Carolinas. We helped bring a couple of the other ones online. Coastal Magic out of Florida in February. So we've gotten to do a lot of stuff virtually, both with conventions we love and do in person, as well as what we've created for a large online community. And again, we try to do a lot of the same fun sort of stuff you'd see at communities. Like tonight, I'm going to be doing a Netflix watch party. We're going to watch Labyrinth at 8 o'clock on Continual. Next Friday or next Sunday night for Halloween, we're going to do another fun one. We do live bar cons. We do meet and greets where you can come hang out with people. We play with all sorts of things at different times and different seasons to see what works. But we built a playground. It started out as we built a playground for our friends to see if anybody would come. And now it's friends have been bringing friends. And we've been able to build out a large network of both people and friends and fans that we never would have been able to meet with otherwise. And we've got a great tight community. Lisa from SFA is part of that, our programming team. There's no way that any one of us could have pulled this off, but our small, tight knit group of people, like Joe basically does all this stuff himself. We've got a team of people because, otherwise we couldn't do all the things we have. But we've also created something, I think, that has helped a lot of the events we love. It's helped us stay in touch with friends and fans and stuff like that. And it lets us go have a lot of fun. And while it's work, it's one of those things that has been really rewarding. We did a podcasters meetup at Multiverse, and it was really one of the really interesting things was, I'm going to say 80% of the guests that were at Multiverse we've had on Continual, and the number of people that spoke really highly about the experience and enjoyed what we've been doing. Hopefully that means we're doing things relatively right, and we're always trying to look for things to do that are new and things to improve. But it's a ton of work, and it's a way that and it's just the way that things work is when you build a network and you can build a community and build friends, you can build those real actual relationships and friendships and stuff that's really tight and supportive outside of writing or outside of help me sell another book. Because at the end of the day, readers and fans and people know who people really are. It doesn't take long for people to really figure out who people are. And I think that's part of the beautiful part of this. The fact that Jeannie Adams is in doing part of her MFA in Scotland right now. We're starting a heavy UK show over there because, hey, we can go poach everybody that's there and she can dome local time. But
yeah, nice. That's awesome. And I was sorry to have missed that meetup, but I had no choice. I had to go pick somebody up from the airport.
Katie wasn't that important.
but no, that's awesome. And I think part of the reason why, I wanted to do Multiverse was because of the experience that I had that VENESSA invited me to the year prior, which was all virtual. And I thought they were so well put together. It was so well designed. And a lot of that was because Jim was involved as well. But I really felt like this was a con that knew what it was and who it was and how to perform and how to do the things they wanted to do. So, I'm all about highlighting those kind of things because there are cons out there that are just like cogs in a wheel in the machines, or they're just one big party, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they're not furthering what we're trying to accomplish. So there's that idea, and I think more cons like Multiverse, which is a immersive fan experience for those who don't know what Multiverse is. It's really and you'll learn more about that very soon. I have a spotlight episode with the founders and the directors of Multiverse who sat down with me at the beginning of the con and talked a lot about it and what's to come. So you're going to learn a little bit about the future of Multiverse as well. But that is something that I think was very, very important throughout last year. I did a ton of virtual stuff. I was more busy on 2020 scale of things than I was in 2021 because I could be where everybody wanted me to be. So that was kind of cool. And it's interesting because I think that's going to be incorporated going forward. And I think that's important for our business and our growth because, a lot of us aren't ready to go out into the world, and a lot of us can't afford to go gallivanting across the world either. So,
It'll be interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard, Facebook is starting to delve into metaverse, which has a lot of VR components to it. If you haven't read about it, it's all over the news right now and has been for 2 days or whatever. But one of the interesting things that they're looking at doing is setting up virtual environments for connecting with people. And so it'll be interesting to see in the next 5 or 10 years to see whether conventions and stuff incorporate that into their programming to see, it'll take a while for that to come about, I think, because also there's a cost factor to it, right? It's definitely a privileged thing to have the money to be able to get a VR device or whatever. But as the technology comes around, it'll be interesting to see how that affects conventions and things like that.
Absolutely.
We've played with a number of times with doing like a Second Life environment, where you could be able to walk in and walk into a virtual
Yes.
dealer hall.
That's what they're talking. That's what they're talking about. Yeah.
Mhm.
Things like that.
We've played with a couple of different technologies. I've done some tech conventions where they had that kind of a virtual environment. And obviously it's not the same as standing there with somebody in person and the conversations you could have, but it still does a pretty good job. Despite my love-hate relationship about Facebook and social media in general. Looking at the industry stuff that's been coming out about, if you look at the different things that Microsoft's been acquiring as companies and the technologies, and the fact that they've been building a lot of VR tech now for a number of years, it's going to create a pretty significant shift again.
Yeah, one of the things in an article that I just read was the metaverse is not going to be, it's not going to be owned or run by one company. It's going to be something that big tech companies and even small tech companies are going to have to work together in order to create. So we'll see how
your chat room sponsored by Starbucks.
I would be down for the chat room being sponsored.
I'll take their money. I'm not drinking the coffee. It's god awful, but
I'll drink their tea.
Yeah. Jeffrey is someone who's doing a lot of stuff with outside of the author space with what you do as well with your wellness and stuff like that. Is wellness kind of on the same wavelength? Have they incorporated a lot of virtual stuff in terms of as opposed to live as well? And is that kind of helped you in what you do?
Yeah, there's been a big shift towards doing things online. And in many ways, it's a really good thing because it provides people with an audience and a market share that they would have never been able to tap into before. So I think that if someone can determine, well, what is their unique strength, abilities, what is their offering? Well, the market segment is just so much bigger. And the opportunities to have exposure is really endless. If you start looking and searching out clients, or if you're even on the author side, searching out different podcasts and blogs and communities and places where you can just share who you are, you can be working all day. So it's really about pivoting and rethinking the way that you're reaching the end user and the message that you're using to be able to do that.
Nice. Yeah.
I think so much of what we're talking about is like it doesn't hurt authors to look at the entrepreneurial space and look at some of the core ideas of becoming an entrepreneur, because that's basically what we are, right? So and Jeffrey, like everything you said has kind of completely gone back to like everything I've learned in the entrepreneurial space. Yes,
no shameless promotion at all.
But because like so many of the things you said, like creating relationships, that's absolutely a huge tenet in the in entrepreneurial teaching and lessons and things, is creating relationships with people, because they'll buy from you if they know you and they trust you, right? And being authentic and all the things that you've touched on, I'm like, yes, that.
Or in some cases, like knowing somebody might not encourage me to buy as much.
No.
But yeah,
you left the signed book sitting on my table I have for you.
You didn't hand them to me. You should have just handed them to
what
me.
A bad salesperson.
I guess I got to ship them to you.
Or hand them to me when we see each other again soon. I'm sure we will. Yes. Yeah, but I think those are all great points, and I thank everybody for their talking. We got through it, everybody. So yay! And I think the future. I don't know. The future looks a little brighter. I think. I was very encouraged by what I experienced last weekend, and I'm really happy for that opportunity and everything like that. So I think we'll see. But I think incorporating every strategy that we've talked about today is important, and again, diversity rules. So, diversify yourselves, people. Get yourself feeling better, doing better, and get out there and talk about you. All right. So that being said, let's have everybody talk a little bit more about themselves, and we'll start with the shameless plugger. So go ahead, Jim. Tell everybody where they are, where they can find you and everything you do.
You can find me at jamespnettles.com, authoressentials.net, authoressentialsworkshops.com, continualconvention.com, but you're better off just to come and join Facebook, the group, all that sort of stuff. Like I mentioned, we'll be doing some movie nights for the next couple of weeks, and we've got a BarCon coming on Friday night for anybody that wants to come hang out with writers or writerly types or readers or that sort of thing. And then also, of course, Spec Tech Academy is coming and launching, and I'll do one more shameless plug of this. And since Dune came out this weekend, I'll shamelessly plug the book I've got, or that I'm in, that comes out somewhere in mid-November, about fairy films. We folk on the big screen, because my piece was about the 1984 version of Dune.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. All right. Jeffrey, why don't you tell everybody where they can catch you at, please?
Well, here's my book. The Ridiculous Adventures of Serpent is on Amazon. It's on Kindle. There's an audio version of it as well, which is really cool. It took the book to a whole new level. So that's on Audible. My website is serpentand.com, and on there you can get a sneak peek of the book, both the audio and some of chapter 1. And I'm on most social media under Jeffrey Kipple, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So I'd love to connect with anyone who just wants to chat and, explore further where we can help and support each other.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you for being here. It was nice to meet you, and hopefully we'll see you again soon in what we do. So thank you so much for that. All right.
Thanks for
Mr. Absolutely. Mr. Scott, you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Sure. My book, I'll show it again, Free Wilds, The Cult and the Constable, is available on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, on Kobo, have several, Google, just Google Free Wilds, The Cult and the Constable, and you'll find it on several bookstores. You can also find me on facebook.com/The Free Wilds, FREEWILDS. I'm also on Instagram, same username, Twitter, same username. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And this podcast that you just watched.
Awesome.
Cool. I wish everybody would stop calling it a podcast, but that's my own pet peeve.
Oh, I'm sorry. What am I don't know what to call it. I'm sorry. What is it?
Joe's Universe. Joe's Universe.
It's fine. It's a broadcast, but that's fine.
Okay.
I'm just being petty. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, that's on me. That's not on anybody else. You call whatever you want. It's totally fine. As long as you're here, that's all I care about. All right, Vanessa, you want to tell everybody where they can find you before I just dive into
talking.
a 6 foot
Joe,
hole?
just stop. You're good. All right, you can find me at VENESSAGIUNTA.com. Just make sure you have the vowels correct, and you'll find me. This is my first book, Javaja of the Soul Cavern series. Here's the second novel. There's a couple short stories in there also. You can also find me on Facebook with my name. I'm easy to find. And for authors out there, if you're looking for a community, I love how Tribe kept coming up a bajillion times in this broadcast. Because I run a group called the Writing Tribe. You can do a search for TWT. You'll find it. Please feel free to join. Make sure you answer the entry questions. And it's really a support group for writers. We have discussions. We have Zoom and Twitch writing sprints. And we support each other and lift each other up. So feel free to come find me at the Writing Tribe.
Yes, please do. It's an awesome group.
Absolutely.
And speaking of making more of an ass of myself, I'm gonna spoil something for you all right now.
You're gonna let
I am
Karina
this.
go?
I am the secret guest on Shane Wilson's The Plotaholics Drunk Review. That is a shadow of me, if you couldn't tell by the hat shadow anyway. But yes, I am the secret guest, and I was drunk as a skunk, and we reviewed this movie, and it's very funny. So if you want to see me make a complete utter ass of myself, that's where you need to go, because that will be on the internet for perpetuity, and I'll never escape it. I know. But that being said,
Hey,
Don't forget
you
Karina.
forgot Karina.
hang on, you guys have never seen this show, have you? All right, you guys.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, relax. Karina's coming. Trust me. Karina's gonna get a very, very special window for everybody today. So, but anyway, I'm Joe Compton. This is Go Indie Now. You found us. Congratulations. You know, while you're here, you might as well smash that like button, subscribe, share, comment, do all those wonderful things. We really appreciate it. And that being said, it's time for, and thanks for everybody jumping the gun, the final 5 minutes with Karina Kantas. She is and she's going to end us today, and might end us if I hadn't already. But Karina, go for it. It's all yours.
First, Joe, I want to say congratulations on your Halloween costume. You look amazing as Frankenstein. It's fantastic. I wanted to mention about the National Podcast Post Month, which is like NaNoWriMo, except it's for podcasts. And I stupidly have agreed to join it. So I am doing a podcast every single day of the month through November. You can find Behind the Pen on Anchor, on Spotify, Apple, Google, and all the good podcast places. I have a new release, and I'm so excited about this. It's been a while since I've had a new book out. Sorry, readers out there. This is called Broken Chains. It's a dark mafia thriller, probably the darkest book that I've written so far, and I had so much fun writing it. If you're into that sort of thing, you'll enjoy it. We're going to go over and see a book trailer that I made for Broken Chains. Take it away, Joe. Thank you. watching the trailer. I hope it's really got you excited if you like that kind of book. The release is November the 2nd, and the paperback comes out on November the 8th. You can pre-order now the book at all the bookstores, apart from Amazon. You can come to me and you can get a file for your Kindle direct from me for your Kindle readers. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the trailer and hopefully going out and getting the book. And these are just some of the books that I already have out, because I write a lot, but I haven't published for a long time. So I'm really, really excited with Broken Chains. Thank you, Joe, for having me. Thank you to all the panel. You've been absolutely amazing. And don't forget, everybody, that it's always time to go indie now.
And with that, we say goodbye.